Well, if you're anything like me, there are some things I don't like about cycling. And one of them is getting dropped on a ride. Whether it's a normal ride, whether it's a chain gang or pace line, those sort of rides, when I get dropped, I really don't enjoy it. But I must be a bit of an idiot because I do them all the time. Every Saturday I do a chain gang, and it's probably 50-50 whether I get dropped. I think my friends on it would probably say it's more than that. But, you know, it's one of those things that it's a challenge. It's my biggest challenge of the week and I love doing it. But there are some things you can do to help you not get dropped on a ride. So we're going to have a look at those in the video. So stay tuned and get some tips on how to stay on a chain gang or a fast ride and how not to get dropped. So the first thing you can do is make sure your bike is rideable. There's no problems with it, everything's lubed well, chain's working well, gears are working, battery's charged, maybe you've got mud guards on in the winter, tyres are good, inflated, you've got spare tubes with you, things like that. Because the last thing you want to do is get out on a fast ride and then be scuppered before the ride starts because you've got a problem or you've got a flat or you've got some issue. So make sure your bike is in, you know, a good condition to ride. Okay, so it's a bit chilly around here at the moment, so let's get a move on and look at those things you can do to stay on that ride. One of the simplest ways to make sure you don't get dropped is ride with people who are slower than you. So if you're wily and cunning, choose a group that you know aren't going to be riding super fast. That's one way to make sure you don't get dropped. But if you want a challenge, choose a group that is suitable for you. If you ride 17-18 miles an hour on your own, you know, a fast pace for you, you're probably not going to manage a 23 mile an hour or 4 mile an hour chain gang. So choose something a bit smaller, a bit simpler, maybe 20 mile an hour group or 21 mile an hour group. You can obviously ride faster in a group, but you're not going to suddenly become incredibly fit with a faster group. So choose the group you ride with. Another important thing to do is choose where you are on the ride, in the ride. If you're riding a pace line or a chain gang, if you're big or bigger, don't sit behind someone who's small. Use your cunning and get behind someone who's big. It's going to make it much easier if you're riding behind a bigger person to shelter from the wind. Mind you, if they're a bigger person, they're probably putting out more watts, so it's probably going to be hard anyway, but that's going to be hard wherever you are in the ride. So sit behind a big person. Similarly, I wouldn't go in front of someone you know is fast. Because if you're on the front and you've just done your turn on the front, whatever that is, however your ride runs, the last thing you want to do is do a hard effort, come off the front, and then be followed up by someone who's faster than you and you know is going to put the hammer down. Choose someone, hopefully, who's similar to you or a bit steadier, so you're not going to come off the front and be hammered by someone else. Another thing you can do, but you need to do it a little bit sneakily, is don't work too hard. If you know it's a fast group and you know sometimes you get dropped or yo-yo on it, when you get on the front, don't go flat out. Don't do a big VO2 max effort. You know, you've got to do an effort, you've got to keep the pace similar to what it was before, but work within yourself. The last thing you want to do is be absolutely caned by the time you finish your turn. So, you know, take it easier when it's your turn. Oh, it's a bit wet here, isn't it? You really need to watch where you're going on the roads at the moment in England. We had loads of rain, and as you can see, loads of the roads are flooded, and it's really easy to hit a big hole going through that. Actually, it looks like it's going to rain already. Forecast wasn't for rain. Another thing you can do before a ride is make sure you fuel well, and on the ride, depends how long it is, but you know, you don't want to not have breakfast and turn up to an early morning ride and then find you're blown out the back straight away. Try to make sure you've eaten well, maybe the night before, or have a good breakfast in the morning. So make sure you're fueled for the ride. Another good thing to do is to train for the hard points. So for example, if you know on your ride there's a 10-minute climb in the middle of it, maybe you should be doing 10-minute efforts in your training or on the turbo. Or if you know your ride, like mine, is quite a rolling, lumpy course, not too big a climbs, maybe 5 minutes, you could be training for that. And by its very nature, a chain gang is very on and off, so probably doing 1 minute on, 1 minute off sort of efforts are also a good way of preparing for a chain gang. So analyse the sort of riding you're doing, find out where you're getting dropped and what sort of power you're doing if you can, and work on developing those aspects to your riding. Another thing is, in a group ride, if it's a chain gang or not, is try to be at the front on hills or near the front, because if you do start dropping back or the pace is a bit hard for you, you can just drift back in the group, and if people push on, hopefully that might give you just enough time to latch on to the last person going past and still stay with the group. If you're on the back and it gets a bit fruity up the hills, you're going to find you're just off the back and that's it. So try not to be right at the back if you know the hill's going to be a hard one and you're going to find it tricky. Another thing to think about when it's position is your position and your position on the bike. Going fast is all about being aero and getting in a good position. Try to maintain an aero position to minimise the amount of energy you're having to put out. You know, go on the drops on your bars if you need to. Stay low and practice riding in that position. And lastly, learn from your mistakes. Every time you come back off a ride, if you've got dropped, just think about when it was you got dropped, why you got dropped, and how you could maybe work towards not getting dropped next time. On that chain gang idea, as I said in the beginning, even if I manage to make it a bit further some weeks than others, you know, that's a win. So always try to look on the positive, even if it's you've just had a really good half-hour workout that you probably wouldn't have got on your own. It's better than just dwelling on the negative of being dropped. Okay, so if you've got any other tips, don't forget to drop them down in the comments. And until next time, bye for now.